It's Thursday, the August 29th, I believe. About 11 p.m. Just picked up Tiny from work not too long ago. Got our car back. According to the owner of the place, the one motor mount bolt just sheared off. And in the process of it doing what it done, it actually broke an axle on the car also. They replaced that without charging us as well. And, Pix and I are both of the opinion that they replaced that because they knew that they were liable for any additional damages because of their repair that they did or didn't do correctly. The owner even said, I don't know if my guy, because it's been a couple months, I don't know if my guy didn't tighten it, he over tightened it, but me personally, I don't know either, obviously. I have no idea. But I am aware that sometimes metal, may not have, when it's molded in the factory and all that, it may not have the purity. If the composition's off a little bit, if there's a bubble, in it, it could be weak, and you don't even realize that it's weak because the structural damage to its interior, you can look at the outside and go, it looks fine. But, maybe it isn't. I don't know. I don't know where the blame is, and honestly, who cares? Nobody got hurt. We were inconvenienced, a fair amount, but okay. Okay. Communicating with Fun Size, actually ran into her at a store today. Love that girl to pieces. But some of the things that she said, because she's also been diagnosed with emphysema earlier this year, I believe. Some of the things that she said, I think she's further progression with the disease than I am. I mean, what little I know, I've been researching it, pretty much to hell and back since I got diagnosed, because I like to know what my situation is. From I'm making coffee, by the way, in case you're wondering what that gurgly weird sound is. From a Pottermore, Harry Potter standpoint, I've taken the house tests on 4 separate occasions, and on 3 of them, this isn't going to surprise people that know me. 3 of them I came up Gryffindor, but one of the 4 times I came up Ravenclaw. And yeah, no, that makes sense to me, because basically I'm a Gryffindor who's not afraid to pick up a book. So I research things, especially when I'm told you have this. The basic, and this is the real basics from what I can understand, the 4 stages, just generically what they call it, are mild, moderate, severe, very severe. With mild, you may not even know that you have it, and you probably haven't been hospitalized for any kind of COPD, emphysema related thing. That sounds a lot like where I am. My understanding, God, I hope I'm right on this, is that if you quit smoking, because, that's 90% of the time is what causes it, eat right, exercise, you can damn near halt the progression of it. That's kind of what I want to be able to do. I'm still at about 2 cigars a day, which I gotta get that down to 0. Because, I want to live. I can live with mild. I mean, until we figure out stem cells to where they can replace what I broke. You know, I can't go back. I can make my lungs stronger, but I can't replace what got broke. The overall lung function can get better, but the little grape clustery things that do the oxygen, carbon dioxide thing, it's like alveoli, or I forget the name of it, but it's what that part of the lungs is called. The ones that I burned out, they're burned out. they don't replenish, repair. You know, I'm hoping that as we learn more about cell therapy, stem cells and whatnot, maybe stem cells are kind of blank slate, like nanite cells, you know, the MSCs and stuff like that. If we can figure out how to make them dance to the music, you know, I could potentially have those shot into my lungs. They would look at what's damaged and go, oh, we can become that, and replace them, in theory. Here's hoping. But yeah, that's really the only way to reverse it, is in, you know, kind of science fiction-y terms at this point. But there's a lot of things that are in our real world that 20 years ago were science fiction. You know, so could happen. A lot of people working on stem cell research, and a lot of shysters selling miracle cures that aren't. So, you know, just got to be aware of that and not do anything stupid. Yeah, I'm pulling for Fun Size though. She's a great lady. Great lady. But I think based on what she said, because she spent a few days in the hospital and she's having a lot more shortness of breath than I am. You know, and I told her that there have been many days where I've had to walk to work, you know, at, you know, noon, 2 in the afternoon, 3-mile walk. And she told me that she wouldn't even make it halfway. She'd be out of breath and panting on the roadside, maybe coughing up a lung. It sounds to me like she might be a moderate stage, just using those generic terms. Because from my understanding, when you get to severe, you usually need a tank fairly often, intermittently-ish, something like that. Very severe, you're pretty much married to a tank, is my understanding. You know, that's kind of what, and this is just what I'm, like, hypothesizing, gleaning from watching medical journal stuff and interviews with people that have been diagnosed on YouTube and health channels, and it's what I think is accurate-ish. And it's still very, you know, generalizing, spitballing, so. But I mean, other than the one time that I was very out of breath, because I had just sprinted 300 yards, that was about 2 years ago. And I think I told you about that. I ran basically from the back warehouse to the front of the store because I thought one of my cashiers had just been murdered. That's that 3 out of 4 Gryffindor thing. Somebody's getting assaulted? Oh, I should go there. I'm that idiot that walks towards the gunfire. Yeah. But yeah, no, after that sprint, I did have my hands on my knees for a minute or two, and it took me a minute or two to catch my breath. I felt like I had been, like, punched in the gut. You know, at that point, and keeping it real, every smoker has a moment like that. Every smoker has a moment like that, where you do something and you go, ooh, maybe I should cut back. But based on everything that I'm learning over the past couple months. I have a feeling that at that point I had emphysema, and that was my lung damage telling me don't ever do that again. But realistically, that's the only moment that I've ever gone, ooh, I'm damaged. I've had other moments where I realize that I'm damaged. And we're not even going to talk about the psychological. I'm trying to keep my videos under 20 minutes. But because of my back, I don't necessarily walk as quickly as I used to, like getting into crowds and at amusement parks and stuff like that. I was that guy that could weave in and out of traffic pretty much. And I still can. But I've lost a half a tick there. But that's mostly because my lower back feels like I got worked over by a baseball bat most of the time. Like I owed somebody money in Philly. I don't think that has to do with my lungs. I think that has to do with my spine and, a drunk driver incident from 2010. I think. The reduction in speed doesn't feel like an airflow issue. It feels like a leg back mobility issue. So I don't think it's that. Pretty sure it's not. I'm pretty aware of my own body for the most part. But yeah, no, I think that's my spine, not my lung situation. So yeah, I've only really had that one moment where I went, ooh, okay, I should cut back on smoking. I know this is from that, but I didn't know there was disease damage. I figured it was just lung scarring from having COVID a few times and smoking a few cigars a day. I mean, once upon a time I used to smoke a couple packs of menthol cigarettes a day. Then I realized that it was affecting my voice, and I was like, oh, I need to change my story here. And I did. For songs that I shouldn't sound like Michael Bolton, I was sounding like Michael Bolton. So you can Google that if you want. It's cool. Yeah, definitely was affecting my voice, making it a little bit more scratchy and more gravelly and all that, in case you don't get the Michael Bolton reference. And that does work for some songs, but, not all of them. That coffee maker is so loud. It sounds like I'm making liquid popcorn. Talked to my mom today. Let her know that we had the car and, there were still issues going on because, this past year and a half has pretty much sucked. She told me that she was feeling kind of woozy, that she needed a minute to kind of catch up, that her head was swimming and she was losing her balance, so she sat down for a minute. And we just sat for, 30 seconds to a minute, didn't say anything while she recovered. But that's the first time that she's at least told me that was a thing, which has me, concerned. It's between the diabetes and the strokes and the other stuff that's been going on. There's 100 things that could be related to. And not one of them is good, So I don't know what's going on there. I'm not sure what to think there. Dad apparently has still got his cough that he's had for a month. So piss off. Older boy needed some coffee. He heard the brewing and he became like a deer in the forest when a hunter comes near, So far my boys don't want to be on camera, so respecting, but coffee. So yeah, my dad he still has chronic cough. Now they both have COPD also. And they said they have COPD and emphysema, which, again, because I haven't corrected them just because it's not worth it. Just like dementia is kind of the motherhead and Alzheimer's is a type of dementia, emphysema is a type of COPD. The two types of COPD is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. Apparently there are many types of COPD, but the two that I just keep seeing, and I guess they're the more prominent ones, are emphysema and chronic bronchitis. Those are kind of the two headliners. Just like with dementia, you've got Alzheimer's, frontolobial, Lewy body syndrome, and vascular. Because again, with my dad, I do my homework. Pretty much narrowed it down to Alzheimer's based on symptoms. And he's mid-stage, dancing into final stage. My mom is in early stage and in denial about dad's mid-stage going into final stage, which is part of the frustration of this whole thing. She wants to keep a happy balance and enjoy every moment that she can with him. And yet when she's on the phone with me, she sounds like she's in a hostage situation. So, how happy are you, really? If you're having to guard your words. I'm kind of powerless here. I've got power of attorney and stuff like that, but I don't want to be that guy. That steps in and tells my mom how it's going to be. I mean, maybe I may have to do that eventually. I don't know. I'm not sure where this path is taking me. If dad goes way too far and mom still doesn't do anything about it, I might have to step in at that point. I don't know. Cross that bridge when I burn it. But yeah, he's still got that chronic cough that he's had for the past month or so, even though he's got an inhaler and some other stuff, but it's still just hanging on. Now, they both have COPD and emphysema. They both have emphysema. I'm not sure what their stages are, but I know my mom said that she can't sleep lying down right now, but that's mostly because she has extra weight around her lungs that isn't allowing them to function correctly. If she's laying down, she has to sleep sitting up. But because there's a history here of me not being told everything, could also be the emphysema, because that causes breathing problems. It's kind of the whole punchline of the joke there. So I don't know. It could be that she's overweight, and it could be the COPD. I don't know. And my dad's cough could be from the emphysema progressing, because chronic cough is one of the symptoms that you usually get in the mild, moderate, and it just sticks around because, it's one of the base symptoms frequently. So that could be some kind of cold, and it could be his COPD progressing. I have no idea. He's a mechanic and engineer, Vietnam vet, who, and I didn't know this until a couple years ago, had exposure to Agent Orange. I didn't know that. That was kind of a big family reveal, at least from my point of view. So, there's a lot of complications that can come from that, even if it was almost 60 years ago. Because he was there, I think 66, 67, something like that. So, Yeah, nearly 60 years ago. But I guess he started having some of his health problems effect wise. That started up 10 years ago plus. But I was in the dark on that. You know, I just assumed it was because he was in his 70s. You know, because we do tend to break as we get older. But apparently, some of the stuff that was going on with him are very, very common side effects of exposure to Agent Orange. So, yeah, that was kind of an interesting day, finding that out. Neat. But yeah, I don't know. Mom likes to not tell me everything, so I don't know where we are in a couple different ways. And I have great concern and no answers. So that's aggravating, because I like knowing what's going on. I really do. I'm a big fan of actually having information so that I can make plans. Been a long day. This is Harry and David vanilla creme brulee. Yummy. I like Harry and David products though. There have been a couple that I didn't care for, but a lot of their blends are really yummy. Hello. It's like a moth or something just tried to punch me in the nose. So, yeah, got the car back. Seems to be running fine. When we did get home, Pix was she was hungry and in one of those I desperately want a treat kind of moments. And she asked, you know, because we have a couple bags of tater tots in the freezer, and she's like, can we have tater tots? And I knew that this kind of day was going to be coming in the near future, which is why I had a stack of burgers in there, and I just happened to have picked up hamburger buns the day before. How'd that happen? Oops. I knew there was going to be a week. When you're doing the Mediterranean diet, you're supposed to be doing poultry and fish. Specifically, stuff that has the omega-3s and all that. So salmon, cod, tilapia is a useless fish as far as vitamins are concerned. It's usually one of the most accessible and cheapest, but it's also kind of useless. There's not a lot nutrition-wise going on there. I mean, there is, but not really. Not really. Not really. But you're supposed to do poultry pretty much and good fish. Salmon, sardines, tuna, cod. You can look the list up online. Now you are allowed to have like beef, pork, stuff like that every now and then. Not everyday thing. That kind of destroys the diet, because those are some of the meats that really aren't as good for you. Chicken and fish, you can do really well with that. But I try and keep things on hand so that once every couple of weeks we can have. I almost want to call it a cheat day, even though it's not really a cheat day. It's not a cheat thing. But anyway, yeah. So we had hamburgers and tater tots. It was good. But we're going to be back to chicken and fish tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day. Which is really good if you know what you're doing in the kitchen. Chicken's really versatile to work with. And I've got, probably about 2 pounds of chicken right now, diced, cubed, and marinating in olive oil and like an Italian seasoning blend. You know, rosemary, oregano, basil, that kind of thing. Just soaking up the goodness. So I'm not even sure what I'm going to do with it yet, but it's getting prepared. And I've got another 10, 12 pounds of chicken in the freezer, so I'm doing all right. Yeah, the burger thing, every now and then. We have 4 more burger patties in the freezer. In a week or two, maybe. I know there's going to be one of those days again. And I'll break them out and fry them when that happens. But yeah. So got the car back. Seems to be running okay. Had a long conversation with Fun Size. Love her to pieces. I think she's in moderate. And I asked her, I told her basically I'll try and not die if you can try and not die. So kind of affirming our lung buddy status, which is good because I could use the support, She's trying to quit, I'm trying to quit, both trying to, stay alive and stuff. It's a thing. She had some liver situations going on a few years back that had her in the hospital more than she was home and almost killed her a few times. She was able to bounce back from that. So if you're watching this, I know you can do it. Okay? I know I can do it, and I know you can do it. They've tried to kill us a few times and failed. We can do this. Concerned about my parents because she's feeling a little woozy here, and that's not factory setting. My dad's cough, that's an issue. I'm powerless there. I can't do anything about it. I mean, I guess I probably could, but then there'd be hell to pay if I were to step in like that. Ooh. I can't disrespect my parents like that. It's just not who I am. So tomorrow's Friday. I need to mow the lawn, which is okay because that's good cardio for me. It really is. I got a whole bunch of stuff that I researched and I didn't photograph it yet, but I got a whole bunch of stuff to go on eBay too. I need to sit down and photograph it and get the listings up. It takes time. If you haven't done it before, you just don't know. But any listing you put up, unless you're running a store and you've got a lot of templates, you can just press. If you put up a listing, it's probably going to take you anywhere from 5 minutes to 30 minutes to get it, to where it's in the public eye. So, and I've probably got 20 or 30 listings that I separated, priced. They're in little baggies with labels and whatnot. I need to photograph them and get them up. Trying to thin the herd around here. Still bummed about that check. Man. Really, really needed that. Unbelievable. All right. Yeah, I'm going to sign off for here. All right. Make it a great day.